Hi, welcome to the Oliver Feder YouTube channel. Today we got a somewhat unintended surprise. So it's gonna start by getting this car out of the way, and then by moving a very heavy object inside. See if you can figure out what that means. 30-degree-ish cold start. Right, so we're getting this guy out, which can only really mean one thing. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Whoops, that's not a 1.6. Oh, yes! 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 Yeah, I made a weird decision, and after talking to another VW enthusiast who kind of laid things out for me very clearly, I got a 1.9. This is an ALH 1.9 liter ALH TDI engine, which will be the next heart of the Rabbit. Let me explain. Currently, the Rabbit, while being aesthetically pleasing as ever, is definitely a little worse for wear and tear. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. Yeah, you see that? You see all that oil that's kind of going everywhere? You see that oil that's going everywhere? You see this oil that's going everywhere? None of that is what you want. This engine, since I picked a bunch of turbo pieces out of it, has a shitload of blow-by, and I really don't think it's worth the money. Well, it's just not worth the money to do any kind of rebuilding on it this time. It takes too long, and if I take it to a shop, which is what it needs at this point, and I'm overboard twice, so it would need sleeves or something ridiculous like that, it's just cheaper to get a whole new engine. To me, like, engine replacement and rebuilding is usually, or at least it should be, a balance of cost and benefit. So in this instance, the 1.6 in that car has been rebuilt twice, once before me, once by me, well, technically twice by me, except the last time was just a hone. And now the cylinder walls slash pistons are pretty effed, and it would need like sleeves or something. And here in Denver, that would cost you probably anywhere from like $3,000 to $5,000, which is ridiculous for an ancient 1.6 TD motor that has already been rebuilt so many times. Other option that I considered was just getting another 1.6 TD. I even went and looked at one, but the problem was the mate I looked at was owned by another VW diesel nerd, of course, and he had a 1.6 TD, a 1.9 AAZ, and a 1.9 ALH all sitting in the same garage, and he didn't mind explaining to me the key benefits, differences, and such of his own experience. I think I'm gonna have a separate video dedicated to his comments on each engine, as well as some research I can put together. Basically what came out of it is an understanding that the 1.9, which I previously considered to be too much of a pain in the ass to bother swapping, the ALH, because I thought you had to transfer it over with the wiring harness and all these things, which from what I read does give you more power out of the TDI engine. But what I realized from talking to this guy was, number one, the TDI pretty much bolts up to the Mark 1 engine mounts, which is a huge W. And number two, pretty much all of the accessories I've been using on my 1.6 at this point are 1.9 TDI accessories. I had to port my head to match a TDI manifold. So I've built a TDI turbo system around my 1.6 TD, so it's really just a matter of transferring all my shit over to it. And then the pump I built recently with the 11mm head, you know, no governor and all that, is an MTDI pump. It's got the high lift TDI rotor and an 11mm head. It'll work great on the TDI. So all I gotta do is delete all the disgusting looking modern junk off of it, which I'm still kind of freaking out about. There's way too many hoses and there's way too many things that don't look like they should be there relative to the 1.6. But then I can just transfer literally everything I've been working so hard on that surrounds my 1.6 heart over to a 1.9 and it'll just be way better. So I'm really excited. Really excited. It was kind of a split-second decision to buy this one in particular, but supposedly it's got like 200-ish K original miles and then was rebuilt at 80K and ran nice. I got it from some guy who's gonna stick it in a Ford Ranger. Currently, my predicament is that it's in my van, there's snow outside, and my driveway has this heinous slant, and I'd have no one to help me. So I think I'm gonna park the van across the street where there's less snow so I can at least get it out of the car. And then I'm gonna try to just wheel it up the driveway on this thing. I don't think it's gonna work. So then plan B is I put a cargo basket on the back of the van and put the motor in the cargo basket and then back the van up the driveway and then the motor's in the garage. Off we go. Naturally, I picked the busiest time of day to do this. We are rigged up with a tie-down strap as our lift anchor. Didn't make a lot of sense, but lift point. It's fine. Alright, that'll do. Now we just need to get it out. So bad. And now the other thing I want to stress here is that I am not going full ape on this conversion, in the sense that the only reason this was appealing to me is that my Rabbit is staying largely the way it is. It's just enough new stuff to be interesting and just enough old stuff to be similar. And I'm not by any means going to drop this in my car like tomorrow. There's still a lot of work to do with the 1.6 as it is. My current plan is to leave the 1.6 in the car until I finish setting up my VNT turbo controller. Like obviously there's a VNT turbo on this, but this turbo even is way smaller than what's on the car right now. So, and like this manifold setup looks hella shitty. I mean, look at how this flows. That's no good. So, plan is to put all the current turbo system components onto this guy, but not until after I finish testing it on my already spanked engine. So, I mean, if it's already spanked, like, why would I try to test a new turbo system on a new motor? When I can test my turbo system on my current 1.6, and if anything really fucks up that bad, who cares? You know, if it needs one more turbo, what's the big deal? So that's my current kind of trajectory. Still sticking with the 1.6 for now. Got a lot more work to do with it in the turbo system. Once the turbo system is sweet, then I'm thinking like we can do some 1.6 like destructive testing almost. Like get this thing ready in parallel with blowing up my old motor fully, and then once we blow up the old motor fully, swap everything over to this guy, put this in the car, and we'll horsepower, about that 110 from the factory in this configuration, and I bet you will be making more than that right out of the gate with my pump and everything. So see if this will just go up the driveway. I don't think so. This is where I wish my driveway was just flat. So maybe I just need to push the engine itself. Oh, I didn't think that was gonna work at all. Okay, that went way better than I thought it would. Sweet, I didn't really think I'd get this far this fast. Notable features, this is an ALH TDI. I don't even know how to verify that, to be honest. 1.9, whatever. It's out of like a 2001 Golf, supposedly a non-stock turbo according to the seller. I don't know if I really buy that. We got a Garrett 1749V on there. So it's a GT17 variable geometry turbo. I mean, way smaller than what we're running now. We're running a GT 2260, so that'll get swapped out for sure. Intake manifolds, right? You know, classic like newer TDI things. There's all kinds of dumb shit on here, like this valve, whatever the hell that does. And it's basically a 1.6 manifold. I mean, look at it. It just has a slightly different entrance tube. Still like just as crappy. So we're not going to use that. It's got whatever this is. Looks like a vacuum reservoir. I think this here is the fuel filter. Fuel filter, yep. And this is a VP, like a VP37 is what this is called. So this is electronically controlled, and we're not going to be using that either. This pump's coming off. Oil cooler. This will definitely be coming off. We'll put our sandwich plate in there instead. This, however, is interesting, and I don't know if I want to use it or not. This is a block heater, essentially. I guess it's technically like a pump. In fact, let's verify that it works. Can't really verify that it works. I mean, it's plugged in. No idea if that works. So, probably gonna get rid of that. And then on this side of the engine, we got kind of some usual accessories. Also, for me to have an engine with a timing cover is nuts. I don't know the last time I had a timing cover on a 1.6. My first one didn't come with one. And then all my donor motors only had the back plate. So naturally, I just have never run one. And to be honest, I don't really see the point in them. Alright, there we go. That looks more like an engine I know and love. So, I mean, probably one of the first things I'm going to do is get rid of the timing covers altogether. Supposedly timing belt was done in the last 80,000 miles or whatnot, but I mean, it looks like it could go again. Nothing too crazy to look at there. As far as accessories go, this I think is a power steering pump, alternator, AC compressor. I don't have AC and I'm not putting it in. I don't have power steering and I don't want it, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to delete some of this shit. And I really don't like how this tensioner looks. I mean, I'm sure it works great and all, but ideally it would just be this pulley, the alternator, and a tensioner, and everything else could go screw. So I'm gonna have to check out what other people do. I'm also missing the engine mount to this side. Gonna need to find that. But if you look at this side of the engine, I assume this is, I have no idea what that is. Thing's ugly. But an O2O should bolt right up. Let me show you. I just so happen to have one on hand. I know I'm kind of in the way right now, but she's gonna go for sure. So you just attach this to the old O2O. The O2O has my standard transmission mounts on it. So all I really need to find right now is the driver's side engine mount. And then I'm kind of like good to go. So the short list of things I gotta do in order to use this, again, post turbo tuning the 1.6, is I need to delete all the useless motor bullshit I'm not gonna use, swap this pump for one that's already on my car, swap the manifolds for stuff that's already on my car, bolt an O2O up, and clean up this mess of hoses and shit, and whatever that is. And then, it's missing injectors, so I gotta get some injectors, but then it will literally just go in the car and get an engine mount. Pretty sick though, I'm fired up. Not the craziest, well it is kind of a crazy update video. So the update is a 1.9 is eventually going in the car, but right now, not to worry, it's still a 1.6 and it will be that way for a while until I finish testing my turbo. Also, if you're a diehard 1.6 enthusiast, I hope this isn't too dismaying to you. I don't really plan on going anywhere in the sense that I wouldn't have gone to this ALH as a future path if it wasn't similar enough to what I was already doing to be readily transferable to the things I'm working on. So that was a long-winded way of saying it's basically the same fucking engine, just a little newer. So I hope you guys will still follow along, and in the meantime, there'll still be plenty of 1.6 specific content. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe and stuff. I'll try to make some more videos. I've been hella slacking. Life is busy and money isn't free, so appreciate ya. Have a good day out there.